Niagara Falls-based singer-songwriter Danny Lamb and his band, The Association, have just released their latest single. It's called Bigger Than Me. It's an anthem all about chasing your dreams, not letting anything get in your way as you strive to achieve them. Danny, you know a little more than a little about chasing your dreams and not letting anything get in your way. Describe your story.
I was born, I think, through my parents, my dad Ken, mom Diane. I was born a shameless idealist and born with those very cliche sayings around attitude is everything and dream, believe, achieve. And there's a lot of energy like that growing up in my house. And I think I took some of those things very literally in my life. The way I think I do as a songwriter, words are super important to me and they hit me really powerfully. And so I think in everything I do, from songwriting to how I choose to live my life locally and globally, I really try and practice that same energy and vibe that my parents always instilled in me and my brothers.
You were born with spina bifida and hydrocephalus, and that has become your mission, to help others who also suffer from the constraints, I guess, of those diseases.
Totally. I think one of the interesting things with both those conditions, both hydrocephalus and spina bifida, spina bifida is known as the snowflake condition because it looks different in every single person. And since I was 18, I've been an ambassador of Hydrocephalus Canada and then got involved globally as well and have continued to be involved locally and globally and use my ability in music to raise awareness for the conditions and empower our community. I was born with spina bifida occulta. Occulta means hidden, and hydrocephalus. Hydrocephalus, often known as water on the brain, which is the more dominant part to my story within our community. But since I was 18, tried to do whatever I could to use my abilities to rewrite the narrative around what it looks like to live with.
You use that term in our community, and you have formed a community, and it is a global community. Can you talk about PUSH?
Yes, 100%. It came through this music tour called The Song of City that we did back in 2013. It's almost been 10 years as of next year, which is nuts. But the simple idea was to use music as a tool to raise awareness for the conditions, to connect, celebrate, and amplify the voices, stories, and abilities across our community. And part of that has been the PUSH Project podcast and the PUSH live stream.
You just did your second annual live stream.
Yes.
And I watched it. It's incredible. People from all over the world, some very talented people, and you're gathering them together to record some of their music as well. Yeah.
There's folks from music, and that's one of the coolest things is of course I come at some of these things through a musical lens. But we've got a small little team through A Song of City that is not just about music. So we've got on the live stream musicians. We've got a local artist by the name of Jaswinder Singh who lives with spina bifida, who's an incredible visual artist. He's on there. We've got athletes. We've got all kinds of folks that are really just working to use their own abilities in whatever they do to break down what it looks like to live with spina bifida and or hydrocephalus and rewrite the narrative in lots of ways.
Part of your reason for the PUSH live streams and the podcasts is to bring the community together. So I think the way I read your story, starting with that Song of City tour in Europe and Eastern Europe, you met so many people and realized that all of these organizations weren't working together towards common goals.
I think it's so interesting, and naturally so. If we live here, we've got our own little pocket that we're focused on, which I think is incredible and important to think local and act global.
But what about sharing ideas, sharing research?
Yes, 100%. Working together to kind of pool all that stuff for the greater sense of our community globally, which I think is one of the things that we're trying to do is kind of touch on everybody wherever they are in the world and on that International Awareness Day, even if it's just that one day, kind of pool everybody and everything in a way that again, kind of fosters that same energy that I know I grew up on in terms of love and just like cool energy.
The cool energy comes out in your music, and not just the new single, Bigger Than Me, but all of your songs really have a positive vibe, a positive message, and they're encouraging, and they're very anthemic. How did you come about making that your goal in your music?
I think it's who I was kind of
Just natural?
who I grew up on.
Yeah.
Who I grew up listening to was those artists who have something to say. When they put something out, they do it intentionally and they have something to say. Like the U2s and Coldplays and Kings of Leon and those artists of the world who are just kind of really intentional about not what they want to say, but why they want to say it. And I know that all my work in and around our SB&H community definitely comes through in why I write the songs that I write. And I feel like in terms of songs that I release, I don't necessarily release stuff until it's like really feeling like it's coming from that place, if that makes sense. And I do think that this song, Bigger Than Me, is kind of a accumulation of all of the work, musically and non-musically, that I know I'm invested in, that is, pun intended, bigger than me, and about our community and about all creating space for voices to be heard.
Danny, I know something that's not bigger than you, and it's that guitar. Why don't you pick it up and play us a bit of the song?
Heck yes, I'd love to. Love to.
And you've got some new music coming out soon too, right?
Yeah, early new year, like January, February, there will be a new single, maybe two, we'll see. And then potentially maybe a record next year, we'll see.
Well, we'll wait and see, yeah. Can't wait to hear it.
Ever since I was young, my head's been in the clouds, chasing my wildest dreams and seeing the world like some shameless kind of idealist, wanting to rewrite all the stars for someone to do something bigger than I could have dreamed and go somewhere different than anyone's been, like the first ones on the moon. I don't need to defy gravity, just want to do something that's bigger than me. Everyone at home now, here we go! Bigger than me.
Sounds great, Danny. The song is called Bigger Than Me, and it is available on all streaming services. Look up Danny Lamb and the Associates. Thanks so much for joining us.
Thank you.